Hi, this is Riley Smith with Make Good Creative Network, and I am also a comedian in Los Angeles. Today I thought I would share with you my top tips for how to be funny. If you can hear the siren, there's my proof that I'm in Los Angeles. So I've done comedy for, how old am I? I have been doing comedy professionally for several years now, meaning people pay me to do funny things. That sounds shady. People pay me to make them laugh in totally legal ways. There we go. That's a non-suspicious way to word that. I've done comedy in the US and the UK. I teach improv at a university here in Southern California. Today I wanted to share my top tips on how to be funny. I thought I would start with 3 things that I think are more general, kind of more prep things on how to be funny. 3 things that you need to cultivate or do over time in order to become funnier. And then I thought I'd share 3 kind of quick ways to be funny. 3 quick things you can do when making jokes or writing sketches or writing anything that you're trying to make comedic. So to start with, here are 3 things to do in your life right now to become funnier. So thing number 1 to do to become funnier, listen. Listen to people when they talk. If you want to be funnier, for instance, in conversation, you need to pay close attention to what other people are saying. A lot of comedy is responding to the inputs, the stimuli around you. So become a better listener. Not only will this help you be funnier in the moment, because you're actually responding to things that are happening in front of you, but listening will help you get more material. So actually one of the things that I love to do, and I think has really helped me as a comedian, is eavesdropping. I eavesdrop the shit out of people. If I'm at a cafe and like 2 people are having a slightly loud argument, or just like somebody's telling a story, I am listening, and I am occasionally taking notes. They don't know me. There's not going to be any consequences, but it helps me learn more about people. Learn about people who are not people who are in my like social circle. Because as a comedian, you want to know more than just the people who are immediately around you. You want to understand more than just the people who you talk to every day. So listen in conversation. Observe your environment wherever you are. Observe people and eavesdrop. If you make a practice of listening, you'll become much more witty, you'll become quicker, and you'll also have more material to draw from. Thing number 2 to do to become funnier. Watch funny things, like a lot of funny things. Like watch all the old Monty Python sketches. Watch new sketch comedy shows that are out now. Like I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. That shit is hilarious. Watch a ton of popular stand-up. Things that have stood the test of time and are still on Netflix even though they're super old. Or brand new things that everybody is talking about on Twitter. Watch so much comedy, but don't just watch it and enjoy it. When something makes you laugh, ask why. Try to figure out what about that worked. Why does that work? What is it about this I Think You Should Leave sketch that made you laugh? Why that moment? Why that line in particular? Think about it critically. While you are watching, pause it if you need to kind of think about it. It can be helpful if you have people there to discuss it with. People say that explaining a joke ruins it, and maybe that's true for like an audience, but you're not trying to be audience, you're trying to be the joke maker. And it's not like anybody says learning how to make bread ruins bread. You need to learn how to make bread. Make the dough. If you want to make dough as a comedian, you need to learn how it works. So watch a ton of comedy from many different decades, from many different genres and people. And when you laugh, or when you hear somebody else laugh, figure out why. Why was that funny? This step can often be really helped by taking classes or buying a book on comedy. I have a video about 5 books that will make you funnier, but not everybody can afford classes. There are a ton of comedy books right now, so if you can do that, that's awesome, but if you can't, it's okay. Just watch a ton of comedy. Watch a lot of it, try to figure out like, what is the deal? Why is this working? Thing number 3, to get funnier. I wrote it down and it's very important. Oh, I remember now. The irony. Laugh at yourself. Make fun of yourself. This is the first thing you should be doing before you're trying to write jokes about other people, before you're like, I'm gonna mock whoever. If you want to be funny, if you want to be genuinely funny, if you want most people outside of your immediate friend group to consider you funny, you need to learn to laugh at yourself. So find what is silly or ridiculous about yourself and learn how to joke about it, and in a way that's lighthearted and fun, and not you trying to get people to reassure your insecurities. There is a difference. But figure out what's silly about you. I did like 6 YouTube videos on my personal channel. Yeah, I think it's like, it might just be 4 now, but there might be more coming, about how bad I am at flirting. I did a lot of videos about that, about just how bad I am at it. And it's fine. I can laugh about it. It doesn't sting anymore. But really, like, I just know this about myself. I am horrid at flirting. And my friends also know it. So if you're not sure like what things there are to laugh at about you, first off, there's definitely things to laugh at. Everybody is silly. All humans are silly. There's gonna be something that you can laugh at about yourself. There is. If you're not sure though where to start with this, ask your friends. Ask them like, what's the silliest thing you've ever seen me do? Or what do you think is the silliest thing about my personality? Don't say what do you think is the funniest thing, because then they'll try to think of something you did on purpose. But just like, what was a silly or ridiculous thing that I've done around you? Just ask your friends. And if you make it clear that you are not asking because you're going to be defensive, but that you're trying to become a funnier person, and you want to know what's funniest about your personality or silliest and most ridiculous about you, people will be willing to help you. So make it clear this isn't some kind of trap. So that's thing number 3. Figure out what it is about you and that is silly or ridiculous, and make fun of it. Learn to laugh at yourself. If you can't laugh at yourself, you're not going to be able to make good comedy, because comedians need humility. To be a good comedian, you need some humility, because there's going to be a lot of rejection. And you need to be self-aware. You need to cultivate self-awareness. So this is the place to start. Learn to laugh at yourself. So those are 3 more like general life things, kind of, that are going to take a while and take some practice. So I wanted to also add 3 more just quick things that if you just implement them today or try them in conversation, they will probably make you funnier. They will make you funnier. Taking out the probably. They will make you funnier if you use these correctly. Okay. Don't sue me if like you don't get laughs though. If you don't get laughs, it's your fault. JK. Okay. Here are the 3 things you can do to be funnier today. The first one, maybe you have heard it before, but I still think that it warrants mentioning. It's the rule of 3s. This is a huge kind of spell, I think. I think it's pretty magic about comedy. People love things in 3s. It's just something about humans. We just like when things come in 3s, and it's really easy to set up patterns and then subvert patterns in this way. So for instance, making a list of 3 things and then having the 3rd thing be slightly different is a really quick way to make a joke. It's a really quick way to make people laugh. Just a list of 3 things, and the 3rd thing is slightly different. So yeah, I went to the supermarket today. I picked up, all the essentials: apples, bananas, Mike's Hard Lemonade, fruit. It's a list of 3 things that are technically related. They're 3 things I picked up at the supermarket. They all sort of relate to fruit. But, you know, if I said that to somebody and added with, you know, the essentials, that would probably make somebody laugh in conversation. I could probably make it work in a stand-up bit too. You know, the rule of 3 is pretty powerful. I just made that one up right now. And you can pretty much do this in so many contexts. Just, if you're listing things, list 3 examples. If you're writing a comedy scene, have 3 characters. If you have a recurring joke, have somebody say it 3 times. Just use the rule of 3s as much as possible. Have 3 things as much as possible. It's just a magic human brain thing. We really like 3s. We really like things to be in 3s. I don't know. Just a magic human brain thing. The next way to be funnier, kind of related. I kind of did it, kind of mentioned in that first one, but I want to point it out more clearly. I call it the switcheroo. I guess it's kind of a bait and switch. So I'll give you an example, and you can do this in conversation. You can do it in stand-up. You can have characters do this. This happens all the time in sitcoms. This is a very easy way to set up a joke. But this is how I start one of my stand-up bits, the one that I've done in a couple different countries, and it usually goes pretty well. So this is how I start. So I went to London with my mother. We visited, and there was a bit of a culture shock, but my mother was willing to learn more about England, and we wanted to take advantage of, you know, the culture there. We wanted to really get into the British culture, and of course, what does that mean? That means tea. So while we were in London, we wanted to have an authentic cup of British tea. So we went to Starbucks, and then, you know, usually I have to pause for laughs there. And like, that is a true story, that we went all the fuck way to London, and then my mom insisted on getting a chai tea at a Starbucks, which is, I have a whole story that comes out after that, but that's the switcheroo. So I set up this idea that we're gonna go to like a British tea house or something. There's also, some people laugh when I say an authentic cup of British tea, because like so much of the history of British tea is about imperialism, but that's a whole other thing to unpack. The point of the switcheroo is that you set things up like you're going to say one thing and then you say the opposite. This happens in sitcoms a lot of time. Usually it's like this character has kind of a warped view of the world. And so when they say like, yeah, I think he's a pretty good worker, you know, he shows up on time and he never turns anything in, and that makes me look good. So just having some kind of switch, something that you wouldn't expect, usually will get you some laughs. The more that you set it up, the more you make it seem like one thing is going to happen, and then you provide a different thing, usually the bigger the laugh response. This works really well in sketch comedy and stand-up. I found it works especially well in stand-up. It does not work very well in improv. So if you're watching this to get funnier at improv comedy, don't do the switcheroo, don't do the bait and switch. Just give the audience what they expect to hear next. It's just better that way. And I could go on for a very long time about why it's better that way. But in other types of comedy, including just conversation, you practice this. Practice the bait and switch. In conversation, you might confuse people, but most people will understand what you're doing and will laugh. The third thing that you can do to be funnier, especially just in everyday conversation, but also in all comedy writing, practice saying things with fewer words. The less time you spend on filler words, the less time that you spend on words that are not directly contributing to the joke, the better. A common word for this is punchy. You'll find that comedy is praised as being punchy, and that usually means that you're not wasting time with a lot of phrases or explanation or exposition that you don't really need. So this is true across all comedy. This is just true in general. The fewer words that you use to make your joke, the better. Unless you're specifically doing a bit where the whole point is you rambling or something. But even then the punchline should be very, very short. So this rule applies all the time. Just the faster that you can say something, and I don't mean like talking fast, I don't mean talking quickly. That doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be funnier. I mean, the fewer words that you use to get your joke out, to get your idea out, the better. So practice that, cultivate that. Work on it in conversation, work on shortening your jokes. If you already have stories or jokes that you tell people that people think are funny, figure out if you can do it more quickly. Is there some part of it you can cut out? Do you really have to explain about the way that your school used to do lunch times, or can you just skip straight to the funny thing that happened at lunch without like explaining the whole system? Figure out what you can cut out. Cut everything that you can, and still make a joke that is comprehensible. So those are the 3 things that you can do to be funnier right away. Number 1, use the rule of 3s. People love 3s, magic brain thing. Number 2, do the old switcheroo, set something up and then subvert the expectations of your listeners or audience. And number 3, find ways to say things more quickly. Use fewer words. There we go. I did it. Use fewer words. That's the best way to say that. Use fewer words. The less distraction or time people have to think about something that isn't your joke, the better response your joke will get. So those are my 6 tips to be funnier, 3 kind of general life things that will help you be a funnier person in general, and 3 things you can use to write or improve your stand-up set or your sketch comedy, or just be funnier in conversation. If you have any questions or any tips of your own that you would like to share, please go ahead and throw them in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video. I am a full-time writer and comedy writer, and like I said, I also teach improv, so I'm always making videos about how to be a better writer, how to be a better performer, how to be a better creator in general. So make sure you like this video so you get more of those, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out. And if you feel like there is something holding you back from being funnier, from being a comedian, from finishing that screenplay you've been working on, whatever it is, if you feel like there is something holding you back, we would love to help you. Make Good Creative Network, which is the channel that you're watching right now, and my company, it has a creative guide with 21 creativity killers. All right, so that's 21 things that might be holding you back. It helps you diagnose which of those things is actually the thing that is holding you back and keeping you from making stuff or being as funny as you would like. And it helps you beat it. It helps you overcome it. So go ahead, and if that's interesting, there's the link in the description below. That is entirely free. We just want to share that knowledge with you so you can go on and make stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you watch more. We have a whole playlist on stuff for comedians, so lots of videos about how to be funny and how to get started as a comedian and how to grow as a funny person. So go ahead and check out that playlist. But most importantly, let's go make them laugh. Make them laugh. Make them laugh.